Embarrassing. This is how you think you're gonna shut down the constructive criticism? I ain't banned. I told y'all. I ain't banned. Stop barking. Stop it. You got an event. You got a fight August 15th. But you ain't the reason why it's gonna sell. You're not the reason why it may be successful. It's featuring the Atlanta hookers. Those are the people that's gonna sell the fight. The Atlanta hookers. The baddies. See, you was trying to devalue Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor in their rematch in Dallas, Texas, because they was in the co-main of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Oh, they ain't sold. People ain't wanted to really watch them. They ain't do the views. It was Mike Tyson. Well, guess who's gonna have the views in your event? The hookers. You went from the self-proclaimed GOAT, having your own card, featuring other boxers, to now being second fiddles to Big Lex, to what's her name? Takeshi, Ikea, what about, no disrespect, I don't be following the baddies. That's the reason why they gave you an event. See, ladies and gentlemen, by being banned from MVP, and MVP having 90% of the females in the sport of boxing, the only reason, to be honest, why women boxing is really alive and well. See, this is the problem that I had with Claressa Shields. That Claressa Shields should have signed with MVP when they had an offer on the table. She was so busy trying to chase after a married man. She was busy trying to pop his booty pimples and stuff like that. See, she could have signed with MVP, which was empowering the women in the sport of boxing and uplifting the women in the sport of boxing. That's why many of the women have signed with MVP, because MVP is so much of a gentleman that they have catered to women and invested in women. But you wanted to, see, you're selfish. You was never about empowering women. You was never about uplifting women in boxing. Which is the girl that you ever signed? What women fighter have you facilitated to get a deal, a lucrative deal? Which girl you presented to Remy Ma's husband so they could sign her and they promote her? No, because then he'll be upstairs with two chicks, not only you. Oh, yo, shout out to Remy. Good movie, great album, like great single, the best freestyle of the year. The Knicks one, great remix with French Montana and Max B. Damn, it seems like Remy Ma she got a second win to her career, a third win. Damn, Remy Ma's husband. Where you been after this? Damn. You rather trade a beautiful wife, to a dead horse. So technically, you seem like you all banned. Because if you went from talking to Alicia Baumgartner, a Shadeja Green, you know what I'm saying, a Michaela Mayer, trying to act like you could fight Amanda Serrano, even Lauren Price, y'all settled for a Key Scott, 5-1-1, 42 years old. Y'all settled going to the bingo hall on a Sunday to get a fight, to get an opponent. See, you ain't gonna gaslight the boxing world. You could go out there and do a little podcast and episodes on the Breakfast Club or Shannon Sharp or whoever that don't know nothing about the sport of boxing. You could tell them, I'm a 19-time world champion and I am facing a great fighter. She is a champion in her own right. She's a unified champion. Shut the hell up. That was a vacant title, the WBA title that was vacant. She fought Olive. Nobody knows these girls. It was a political move. She's not even ranked in the top 300. She's ranked 463 in BoxRec. See, you can't fool the boxing world, so you need to go somewhere else. Go to your live and go talk to people that don't know nothing about the sport of boxing and gaslight them. But this fight is a fraud as it is. This is an embarrassing matchup for the self-proclaimed GOAT in her status, what she feels like her status. Can you imagine if Bud Crawford will fight an opponent like this? Can you imagine if a Gervonta Tank Davis was featuring with male strippers, and that's the reason why it sells? Hey, yo, the only reason you're gonna be performing in Atlanta and the only reason why you gotta fight is because they need to win records and select promotion, not going to try to breach their contract. They're going to honor their contract that they signed with you. They give you a $3 million bonus. They can't accumulate that with $8 million. They need to put you in a car with the hookers. So technically you are banned. I mean, MVP got women boxing on lock. They're the one that's the reason why women boxing is alive and well, because of MVP. The networks are invested highly on MVP, ESPN, and Netflix. So looking at your matchup and looking where you fighting and the card, yeah. This is more than banned. Get the hell out of here. Go with the baddies, go with the hookers in Atlanta. Nobody knows you in Atlanta. You can't sell in Atlanta by yourself. You crazy? You needed the ladies that people do like looking at. You know what I'm saying? Male, female, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Look at the numbers. When they posted, when look at the numbers. Look at when y'all posted. As a matter of fact, I got more views than you announcing your fight. As a matter of fact, hey, yo, Claressa Shields, hire me to promote your ass. I got more views than you in your channel announcing your fight. I need a check because I'm helping you out now. Sending this fight, you might as well be the co-main. And you're going to be telling the people, I'm the main event. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know the sport of boxing or how the networks and the event work. There are fights that are after the main event. They're not televised, but there are fights after the main event in the sport of boxing. So technically, you may fight after the baddies, but technically, the baddies are the one that's selling the fight. You know what I'm saying? The baddies. Now, I would understand if it was a Jake Paul versus Tank, right? And you was even in the you was gonna fight after them or before them, right? And that's respectable because they bring the numbers. But you are going to be featured with the Atlanta hookers, not the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta hookers. Wow, empowering, right?